Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the oscillating patterns on her quantum interface display, her coffee long forgotten and cold beside her. The signal wasn't just unusual, it was impossible. For 3 days straight, the newly upgraded SETI Deep Space Array had been picking up quantum fluctuations that defied every known law of physics. "Run it again," she ordered, her voice hoarse from too many hours without sleep. Behind her, Dr. James Martinez adjusted his thick-rimmed glasses and initiated another scan sequence. The massive array of quantum sensors, buried deep beneath the Atacama Desert, hummed to life once more. The patterns appear again, more distinct this time. Threads of quantum entanglement stretched across space like an infinite spider's web, all emanating from somewhere in the Kuiper Belt. Sarah leaned closer, her dark eyes reflecting the ethereal display. After 15 years of searching the stars for signs of intelligence, she'd never seen anything like this. "It's not random noise," James said, excitement creeping into his usually steady voice. "Look at the harmonic resonance patterns. These quantum states are maintaining coherence across millions of kilometers." "That's impossible," Sarah finished, a slight smile playing at her lips. "That's what they said about quantum computing 30 years ago. Now look at us." She gestured to the advanced systems surrounding them, each one powered by quantum processors that would have seemed like magic to previous generations. The door to the control room hissed open, admitting Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their quantum mechanics expert. Her usual composed demeanor was nowhere to be seen. "You need to see this," she said, quickly connecting her tablet to the main display. "I've been analyzing the signal structure. It's not just quantum entanglement. It's a coherent pattern suggesting consciousness." The room fell silent as new data filled the screens. Complex mathematical equations scrolled past, showing how the quantum signals interacted with spacetime itself. "These patterns," Yuki explained, pointing to recurring sequences, "they're similar to what we see in human consciousness when mapped through quantum sensors, but vastly more complex. It's as if we're detecting thoughts spread across space itself." Sarah felt her heart rate quicken. "Are you saying we found a thinking entity made of quantum energy?" "Not exactly," Yuki replied, bringing up a 3-dimensional model. "I think we found pieces of one. Look at these distribution patterns. Whatever this is, it's fragmented, scattered across the Kuiper Belt like pieces of a broken mirror. But the fragments are still connected through quantum entanglement, still trying to think." James let out a low whistle. A shattered consciousness spanning space itself. But how? Why? Before anyone could respond, every quantum sensor in the facility suddenly spiked. The main display erupted with new data as the signal strength multiplied exponentially. Warning alarms blared as the facility's systems struggled to process the incoming information. "It's responding to our scans," Sarah realized, her fingers flying across the control panel. "We're not just observing it anymore. It knows we're here." The quantum patterns shifted, becoming more ordered, more deliberate. Symbols began appearing in the data stream, complex geometric shapes that seemed to twist in impossible ways. "It's trying to communicate," Yuki whispered, her eyes wide. The facility's security system activated automatically, blast doors sealing as armed guards took up positions outside. Standard protocol for first contact scenarios, but Sarah barely noticed. She was too focused on the patterns forming before her. "Look at this," James called out, pointing to a new data set. "The quantum field is affecting local spacetime. It's creating microscopic distortions." Sarah felt a strange sensation, like static electricity raising the hair on her arms. The air in the control room seemed to thicken, heavy with potential. On her screen, the geometric patterns were arranging themselves into complex fractals that seemed to extend into dimensions she couldn't quite perceive. "Dr. Chen." A new voice crackled over the intercom. "This is General Laura Hayes, North American Defense Command. We're detecting these quantum anomalies from orbit. What exactly have you found down there?" Sarah took a deep breath, her eyes never leaving the display. General, I believe we've made contact with a form of intelligence that exists primarily in quantum states, and unless I'm reading this wrong. She paused, watching as new patterns emerged, each more complex than the last. It's waking up. The quantum signals pulsed again, stronger this time. In the data stream, Sarah could see something taking shape, a message encoded in mathematics and quantum states, waiting to be decoded. Whatever they'd found, whatever ancient consciousness was stirring in the void between worlds, one thing was certain: humanity's understanding of life, intelligence, and their place in the cosmos was about to change forever. As emergency protocols activated around them and military personnel began arriving at the facility, Sarah couldn't help but smile. After all, she'd spent her entire career searching for signs of intelligent life among the stars. She just never expected that life to be quite so extraordinary. In orbit above Earth, satellites began detecting unusual quantum fluctuations spreading through the solar system. Something vast was stirring, something that had waited eons for a civilization capable of perceiving it. And now, thanks to humanity's advancement in quantum science, that wait was finally over. The signal continued to grow stronger, its patterns more complex, as if testing the limits of human technology and understanding. In the control room, Sarah and her team worked tirelessly to decode its message, knowing that every moment brought them closer to understanding one of the greatest mysteries in the universe. They were not alone, and the cosmos was far stranger than they had ever imagined. 3 weeks after the initial contact, the SETI facility had transformed into a joint military scientific command center. Banks of quantum computers filled newly constructed wings, each one dedicated to processing the ever-increasing complexity of the alien signals. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a holographic display, watching as new patterns emerged from the quantum noise. "The consciousness is becoming more coherent," Yuki reported, adjusting settings on her quantum interface. "It's like watching someone wake up from a deep sleep, but spread across millions of kilometers of space." General Hayes stepped closer to the display, her expression thoughtful. "And we're certain it's not hostile. The patterns suggest intelligence far beyond our own," Sarah explained, gesturing to the flowing data streams. "If it meant us harm, we wouldn't stand a chance. But instead, it's teaching us." The quantum signals had indeed been sharing information. Advanced physics concepts, mathematical principles that revolutionized their understanding of spacetime, and hints of something much larger, something waiting in the darkness between stars. James burst into the room, tablet in hand. "We did it. The new quantum translation matrix is working. We're getting actual communication." The main display shifted, geometric patterns resolving into comprehensible symbols and concepts. A voice emerged from the facility's speakers, not quite human but carefully modulated to be understood by human ears. "We are the luminary," it said, its tone carrying echoes of ancient knowledge. "We have waited long for a species capable of perceiving us." Sarah stepped forward, her heart racing. "We are honored to make contact. I am Dr. Sarah Chen, representing humanity. Why were you scattered across space?" The quantum patterns shifted, showing images of destruction and chaos. "We were the guardians," the voice explained. "Protectors of young civilizations against those who feast on conscious thought. The Void Eaters found us, forced us to scatter our consciousness across countless light years. We have slept, waiting for allies with the potential to help us reform." General Hayes frowned. "Void Eaters." New patterns appeared, showing massive distortions in spacetime, entities that seemed to consume reality itself. "They devour consciousness," the luminary explained. "They feed on thinking beings, growing stronger with each civilization they consume. We fought them for millennia before our defeat." "And now?" Sarah asked, though she feared she knew the answer. "They come," the luminary confirmed. "Your species' advancement in quantum science has drawn their attention, but you have also awakened us, and perhaps together." The facility's alert system suddenly blared to life. On another screen, Data from deep space monitoring stations showed massive gravitational anomalies approaching from beyond Pluto's orbit. Multiple objects detected, James reported, his voice tense. Whatever they are, they're big, each one larger than Earth's moon. The luminaries' patterns became more urgent. The Void Eaters send their scouts. We must act quickly. Your species has achieved something remarkable. You've developed quantum technology that resonates with our consciousness. Together, we might succeed where we failed alone. Sarah turned to General Hayes. What are your orders? The general studied the approaching anomalies, then looked at the flowing patterns of the luminaries' consciousness. Doctor, you've spent weeks studying these beings. Can we trust them? Sarah thought of the knowledge they'd shared, the careful way they'd helped humanity understand concepts that should have taken centuries to grasp. Yes, she said firmly. I believe we can. Then let's hear their plan. The luminaries' consciousness expanded, sharing images of advanced quantum technology merged with human innovation. Your quantum computers, it explained, they are crude by our standards, but they possess something unique. They reflect the pattern of human consciousness itself. We propose a merging, our ancient knowledge with your fresh perspective. Together, we might create something new, something the Void Eaters have never encountered. Dr. Tanaka's eyes widened as she examined the technical specifications flowing across her screen. This is incredible. They're suggesting we use our quantum computers as a framework to help rebuild their consciousness, but enhanced by human thought patterns. It's like creating a hybrid species that exists in both quantum and physical space. The risks? Hayes asked. Unknown, the luminary admitted. Such a merger has never been attempted. But the Void Eaters approach, and we have little time. Sarah watched as more data poured in about the approaching threats. They had perhaps days before the scouts arrived, weeks before the main force reached Earth. She thought of all humanity had achieved, their journey from cave paintings to quantum computers. They had come too far to fall now. We'll do it, she declared, looking at General Hayes for confirmation. The general nodded slowly. Begin preparations, Hayes ordered. And someone better inform the Security Council that humanity is about to attempt something unprecedented. As the facility burst into activity, Sarah studied the flowing patterns of the luminaries' consciousness. They had searched the stars for signs of intelligent life, hoping to find allies or teachers. Instead, they had found ancient guardians in need of help. And in helping them, perhaps humanity would evolve into something greater than they had ever imagined. The quantum signals pulsed with renewed energy, as if the luminaries shared their determination. In the void between worlds, the Void Eaters approached, unaware that their ancient enemies were not only awakening but transforming. With human help, the guardians of the galaxy were about to be reborn. The quantum integration chamber hummed with energy, its crystalline walls pulsing with waves of iridescent light. Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the readings as the first test of human luminary consciousness merger began. Inside the chamber, Dr. James Martinez floated in a suspension field, his mind connected to their most advanced quantum computer. Neural patterns holding steady, Yuki reported from her station. Quantum resonance at 60% and climbing. The luminaries' presence filled the room's systems, their thoughts manifesting as complex patterns of light and energy. Your friend's consciousness is remarkable, they communicated. We had not anticipated such adaptability. Sarah watched James's vital signs carefully. They'd spent the last week preparing for this moment, building the integration chamber according to the luminary's specifications enhanced by human engineering. But theory and practice were very different things. James, she called through the comm system. How do you feel? His response came slowly, his voice filled with wonder. It's incredible. I can see everything. The quantum field, the fabric of space-time itself. It's like waking up from a dream and realizing you've been seeing the world in only 2 dimensions. Warning alerts suddenly blared through the facility. General Hayes' voice came over the intercom, tense and urgent. Dr. Chen, We need you in command. The scout ships have breached the Kuiper Belt." Sarah looked at Yuki, who nodded. "I'll monitor the integration. Go." The command center was a hive of activity when Sarah arrived. On the main display, 3 massive objects moved through space with impossible grace, their very presence seeming to distort the reality around them. "The Void Eater's scouts are unlike anything we've encountered," General Hayes reported. "They're absorbing all energy signatures that touch them. Light, radiation, even our scanning beams. They consume information itself," the luminary explained through the facility's quantum network. "Each scan, each probe you send only makes them stronger. They are mapping your defenses, learning your capabilities." A junior officer rushed in. "General, we're detecting quantum disturbances throughout the solar system. The scouts are doing something to local space-time." The luminary's response carried a note of urgency. "They prepare the way for their main fleet. They will consume this system's consciousness, not just organic minds, but the very quantum patterns of thought and possibility. Your world will become a void, empty of all potential." Sarah studied the scout ship's movements. "Can we stop them?" "Direct confrontation is futile," the luminary warned. "But perhaps, yes. The integration with James Martinez shows promise. His consciousness has achieved partial quantum state." As if on cue, James's voice came through the quantum network, different now, layered with new understanding. "Sarah, I can see them, really see them. They're not just ships, they're wounds in reality. But there's a pattern to their movement, a vulnerability in their feeding process." The main screen shifted, showing new data as James shared his enhanced perception. The scout ship's seemingly random movements revealed themselves as complex algorithms, each one designed to maximize their consumption of information and energy. "If we can disrupt their feeding pattern," James continued, "we might be able to force them to withdraw. But we'll need more than just me. The merger, it needs to be scaled up. Significantly." General Hayes frowned. "How many people are we talking about?" "Hundreds," the luminary responded. "Perhaps thousands. A network of human minds, each one partially merged with our consciousness, creating a quantum defense grid around your world." Sarah felt the weight of the moment. They were talking about permanently altering human consciousness on a massive scale. "The volunteers would never be the same," she said quietly. "No," James agreed. "But I can tell you this, what I'm experiencing, this expansion of consciousness, it's not a loss. It's an evolution. We'd still be human, just more." Another alarm sounded. One of the scout ships had changed course, heading directly for Mars. They watched in horror as it approached the red planet's largest research base. "No time for debate," Hayes decided. "Dr. Chen, begin preparing for mass integration. I'll speak to the Security Council about recruiting volunteers. Though something tells me we'll have more than we need. Humanity has never been good at backing down from a challenge." Sarah nodded, already planning the logistics. They'd need to construct more integration chambers, train more technicians, prepare for the largest coordinated consciousness alteration in human history. "Yuki," she called through her comm. "How's James doing?" "Stable," came the response. "And Sarah, he's starting to do things with quantum fields that should be impossible. If this is what one partial merger can achieve." The implications hung in the air. Humanity was about to make an evolutionary leap, driven not by natural selection, but by choice and necessity. The Void Eaters thought they were approaching an easy target, another young civilization to consume. Instead, they would find something unprecedented: humanity and the luminary working together to create a new form of defense, a hybrid consciousness that could stand against the destroyers of worlds. In the quantum integration chamber, James continued to explore his expanded awareness, mapping the boundaries between human thought and quantum reality. Above Mars, the scout ship began its approach, unaware that its actions were about to catalyze humanity's greatest transformation. The storm was coming, but this time, The Guardians would not face it alone. Over 5,000 volunteers filled the hastily constructed integration facilities around the globe. Military bases, research centers, and repurposed stadiums had been transformed into quantum merger chambers in just 2 weeks. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the central command hub beneath the Atacama Desert, watching as humanity prepared for its greatest transformation. Integration Wave 1 commencing, Yuki announced, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface. 200 subjects initiating merger sequence. The luminaries' presence rippled through the quantum network, their ancient consciousness ready to guide the volunteers through their evolution. "We have never witnessed such courage," they communicated. "Your species faces fundamental transformation, yet these humans step forward willingly." Sarah watched the monitors as the first wave began their merger. James, now fully integrated for weeks, had helped refine the process. Each volunteer would maintain their individual identity while gaining access to quantum awareness and the luminaries' shared consciousness. The first screams started exactly as expected, not of pain, but of wonder. "Neural patterns stabilizing," Yuki reported. "Quantum resonance achieving harmony." "There, it's working, Sarah. It's actually working." On screens around the command center, data flowed from integration sites worldwide. Humans were ascending to a new state of existence, their consciousness expanding into quantum realms while remaining anchored to their physical forms. The luminaries' knowledge merged with human innovation, creating something entirely new. General Hayes entered the command center, her uniform crisp despite the chaos of recent weeks. "Status report. First wave integration successful," Sarah replied. "We're seeing unprecedented levels of quantum field manipulation. The volunteers are already learning to." Warning sirens cut her off. The main display shifted to deep space telemetry, showing massive distortions appearing beyond Mars' orbit. "The main fleet," the luminary confirmed. "They come in force now, having sensed our awakening." The void between planets seemed to tear open as the Void Eaters emerged, vast ships that seemed to swallow light itself, each one larger than Earth's largest cities. But humanity was ready. "All integrated defenders to positions," Hayes ordered. "This is what we've trained for." Around Earth, the 5,000 integrated humans began to move in concert, their enhanced consciousness spreading through space like he was right. The cosmic horrors had begun to synchronize their attacks, creating cascading waves of entropy that threatened to overwhelm even their enhanced defenses. 3 integration facilities had already fallen, the defenders within forced to evacuate as reality itself began to unravel around them. "We need to end this," Sarah projected, her consciousness expanding to encompass the tactical display. "We can't maintain this level of quantum field manipulation indefinitely." The luminaries' ancient wisdom flowed through their shared consciousness, offering new insights. "There is a way," they communicated, "but it requires something we never dared attempt. A complete merger of all our minds, human and luminary, if only for a moment." General Hayes's voice cut through the quantum chatter, still stubbornly human despite her own integration. "The risks?" "Unknown," the luminary admitted. "Such a unified consciousness has never existed. The power would be immense, but maintaining individual identity afterward." A massive entropy beam from the largest Void Eater ship cut through their defenses, vaporizing a section of the quantum shield. Emergency alerts blared through both conventional and quantum channels as more Void ships pressed the advantage. "We're out of options." Yuki's thoughts rang clear. "The Void Eaters are targeting Earth's quantum field itself. If they succeed, they won't just kill us. They'll erase the very possibility of consciousness on our world." Sarah expanded her awareness, touching the minds of all the defenders. She felt their determination, their fear, their hope. Humanity had come too far to fall now. "We do it," she decided, "but we add a human twist." Through the quantum network, she shared her plan. The luminary had always approached consciousness as a unified field, but humans were different. Each mind unique, each perspective valuable precisely because it was individual. "Don't fight to maintain separation," she explained. "Let our consciousness merge, but keep what makes us human. Our chaos, our creativity, our stubborn individuality." Understanding rippled through the network. Across Earth and throughout near space, 10,000 human minds began to synchronize, but not into uniformity. Instead, they merged into a harmony of differences, a quantum symphony where each consciousness remained distinct while contributing to something greater. The luminaries' ancient knowledge flowed through them all, enhanced and transformed by human innovation. In orbit, the defending forces began to move in new ways, their quantum fields weaving patterns that had never existed before. The Void Eaters reacted with what could only be described as confusion. For eons, they had consumed consciousness, absorbed knowledge, destroyed whole civilizations. But they had never encountered anything like this, a unified field of consciousness that was simultaneously one and many, ordered and chaotic, ancient and new. "Now," Sarah commanded, and the unified consciousness struck. Every human mind, every fragment of luminary awareness, focused on a single purpose. They reached into the quantum fabric of space itself, not to fight the Void Eaters, but to change the rules they operated on. Reality rippled. The vast void ships found themselves trapped in a quantum field that operated on principles they couldn't consume or corrupt, because it was constantly changing, powered by the organized chaos of human consciousness. "You cannot devour what you cannot understand," the unified mind projected, speaking with millions of voices in perfect harmony. "And you will never understand us." The Void Eaters tried to retreat, but the humans and luminary pressed their advantage. Drawing on their combined knowledge, they began to seal the quantum rifts the cosmic horrors used for travel, cutting off their escape routes. In the physical world, the void ships started to break apart, their entropy-based existence unable to maintain coherence in the face of this new form of quantum reality. But instead of trying to destroy them completely, the unified consciousness did something unexpected. It offered them a choice. "You can continue to consume, to destroy, to remain forever hungry," they projected, "or you can choose to evolve, as we have." Some of the void ships imploded, choosing oblivion over change. But others hesitated, their ancient patterns fluctuating as new possibilities emerged. As the battle ended, and the unified consciousness began to carefully separate back into its component minds, Sarah found herself forever changed. They all were. Humanity had not just survived. They had transcended, becoming something entirely new while remaining fundamentally themselves. The luminary consciousness merged with their own now existed as part of a greater network, not a hive mind, but a quantum symphony of individual voices, each one contributing to a harmony that could reshape reality itself. "What now?" James asked through the quantum link, his individual consciousness distinct yet connected to them all. Sarah looked out at the stars, seeing them with both human eyes and quantum awareness. "Now we rebuild, we learn, and we grow." The Void Eaters weren't the only threat out there, and younger civilizations will need guidance as they reach for the stars. "We will be the guardians," the luminary agreed, their ancient knowledge now inextricably woven into humanity's quantum evolution. Not through dominance, but through understanding. Not through uniformity, but through harmony. General Hayes, maintaining her military pragmatism even in their transformed state, added, "And we'll be ready if any other cosmic horrors come calling." The quantum network hummed with shared purpose as humanity took its first steps into a larger universe. They had sought signs of intelligent life among the stars, hoping to find teachers or allies. Instead, they had found a way to become something more. Protectors of consciousness itself, guardians of infinite possibilities. And somewhere in the quantum fields that connected all things, the first of the transformed Void Eaters began to learn a new way of existing, guided by a species that had proved that evolution was not just about survival, but about choosing to become something greater than yourself.